There was an amazing moment a few years ago when I realized because of certain steps I put in place, I no longer had that desire, need, or intention to send one of those desperate "I miss you" texts to someone who had once meant a lot to me. That discovery is exactly what I'm putting in this video, so you don't have to be that person putting their life on hold and obsessing over somebody else. So 3 years ago, when I was at a very different time in my life, with a whole lot less emotional intelligence and life experience, I met a girl. She had bright blue eyes, a really cute smile, and was a powerlifter, which, if I'm being honest, is a bit of a kryptonite of mine. But more importantly, we connected on an emotional level quicker than any other relationship I had had previously in my life. I felt comfortable to be myself, we had deep conversations, and it felt like we genuinely understood each other. For me, all the boxes were checked, so it's safe to say I fell pretty hard. Unfortunately, the situation fell into one of those they randomly change their mind and I just have to get over it scenarios. I'm sure you can relate when I say it was hard to do that, until I use the steps that I'll be talking about very soon. Before I do, it's important to realize that the first 3 steps will help you work on some of those feelings you're struggling with, but they won't be an overall solution. The 4th step, and something else I'll talk about, will help you work on the core issue. In case you didn't know, I'm a life and relationship coach, and my coaching, my pages, and my soon-to-be-released course all revolve around working on that core issue. It's that core issue that fuels all of your relationship and life struggles, but I'll talk about it more at the end. So the first thing I noticed when going through this breakup and breakups before was there was a lot of stuff going on inside here and here that I couldn't quite put my finger on. I'd learned at the time through psychology that expressing your emotions were supposed to be extremely beneficial, but I just had no idea how to do it. So I attempted to let myself actually feel or express them. One way I did that was when I could feel the emotions coming up and sitting in my throat, I let them out instead of trying to toughen up and push them down. When I let myself feel and express the emotions rather than trying to suppress them, I became lighter, as if there was less weighing me down, less to hold on to. You see, a breakup is essentially the same as experiencing the death of a loved one. I mean, think about it. You reach a level of depth and comfort with someone that you rarely experience with others. You can laugh together, cry together, share secrets, and feel safe to be your true self. And then it's just gone. They're gone. But what makes this death confusing is they're not really dead. They're still there, just not with you anymore. A breakup needs to be grieved, just as a death would be. And you can only do that if you allow yourself to feel what you need to feel. Are you angry, confused, sad? Don't hold those in. Don't push those down. Don't pretend like you're okay. I know this might be tough for some of you, but I'm telling you, being comfortable with your emotions is not a weakness. As a matter of fact, it'll make you an incredibly strong individual, and it's the first step in having complete and healthy control over them. Now, if you're not comfortable expressing your emotions just yet, that's okay. Journaling is another great way to let your feelings out and can give you a very similar relief. The next thing I did might sound a bit contradictory, but I sent her a text, but not an "I miss you" text. As a matter of fact, it was quite the opposite. I sent her a text expressing exactly what I thought and how what she did made me feel. Not in a malicious way, but calling it out for what it was. The way she handled our situation was way less than what it deserved. Now, the best part of this was after I sent it, I felt much more at peace and had no desperate need for a response or a reply, because all I really wanted was for her to know how I felt. The second best part was she actually messaged me a few months later on one of my social media platforms, asking if we could have a catch-up call. She stopped responding after I mentioned I had a new girlfriend. You see, an important part of a breakup is getting the closure you need, directly or indirectly. I had questions, as I'm sure you do too. Why did you all of a sudden stop texting? What changed your mind? We were so close and then strangers the next day. How can you be okay with that? Now, your first thought about getting closure might be that it's about getting answers to these questions, but that isn't actually what closure is about. Let's say you actually ask your ex these questions. What kind of answers do you think you're gonna get? Oh, I just stopped loving you. I just stopped being attracted to you. Honestly, I'm just not really fazed that we ended. No, you're gonna get a response that somewhat makes sense, but is mostly them trying to not make things uncomfortable or them feel bad about themselves. At the end of the day, we don't really want the answer anyway, whether it's true or not. What you want is to feel heard and understood. You want them to know that what they did was kind of messed up and it made you feel shit. Just for example. Closure is about expressing how you really felt about what happened. And the best part about this is when you really understand it, you don't actually need to tell it to them directly. You can, and if they're willing to actually listen and can respond in a way that's actually mature, that's awesome, but that's rarely the case. A good substitute is to write them a letter or a text, but then not actually send it. Getting those deeper thoughts, feelings, questions, and frustrations out there is usually all you need to get some closure, because really you just need to get it off your chest and out of your head. So the next thing I did was I spoke to my mom. Yes, I know, doesn't sound super cool. But speaking to her and one of my best friends not only made me feel better, but also showed me that I had support and added to that feeling of being heard and understood. You see, when you're in a relationship where you can be that close to someone, you start believing that they're your only support system. The problem with that is you become dependent on them for that love and support, which puts them on a much higher pedestal in your life than they should be, even after the relationship ends. You need to remind yourself that there are people in your life that love and care for you. Maybe not romantically, but on a deep level nonetheless. Find those people in your life and ask them to lend an ear. Then it's up to you to be open and vulnerable and express those thoughts and feelings you have about the relationship. The last and most important piece of this breakup puzzle was that I built the belief that I truly no longer needed that girl. In doing so, I also attracted the most healthy person and loving relationship I had ever had up until that point. Now, to do that, I had to focus on growing the parts of me that I really wanted from them. We're gonna dive into some psychology for this one. I want you to think about all the traits and characteristics you liked about them. The things that really attracted you. Were they funny? Were they confident? Were they disciplined? Were they deep and down to earth? The parts you're so attracted to in someone else are usually the parts that you're lacking within yourself. That's why you're so attracted to them. You want to be more like that. And having a partner that has those qualities and traits is a way for you to have them without actually building them. The problem with that is when they're gone, you also no longer have those qualities and traits anymore. You're no longer fulfilled or completed. In other words, you need them in your life so you can keep having those qualities around you that you really want within yourself. When you start building those traits and qualities in yourself, for yourself, you'll no longer need another person to feel fulfilled. You'll also attract a new and better type of person for you because you have new and different qualities and traits to offer. So trust me, breakups are never easy and they're always going to take some time. But you can have confidence in the fact that there is a way forward. One that'll definitely speed up the process and leave you feeling better about yourself and where you're at in life. And at the very least, definitely help you not send those desperate "I miss you" texts. Now, if you remember from the beginning of the video, I was talking about that core struggle. It's insecurity. But at the core of every insecurity is the belief that you're not good enough. When you can genuinely believe that you are good enough, you will be secure in your life and your relationships. You'll no longer need validation from others, no longer settle for less than what you deserve, no longer chase after things or people you know aren't good for you, and no longer be held back from doing the things you've always wanted to do in life. You can become secure and genuinely feel like you are more than good enough. I've done it, even though I thought I'd never be able to. Currently, I have a free ebook, and I'm also offering free one-on-one consultations. You can find all that on my website linked below. I'll see you in the next video. Keep growing.